Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to another episode of Connecting with the Conversations in the Qur'an. And we've been doing a series on Musa alayhi salam. Before that, we had a look at some of the conversations of Yusuf alayhi salam, and before that of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So here again, the last one we did was about a moment within the time frame of Musa alayhi salam when they wanted to kill him, and how he has a conversation trying to convince his people not only just to not kill Musa alayhi salam, but technically also just to bring his people, ya qawmi, to be believers and not follow the Pharaoh. And of course, that barely worked. We don't know the result, but at the end, he made the dua, فَسَتَذْكُرُونَ مَا أَقُولُ لَكُمْ. He said, soon you will remember what I've been telling you, and وَفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. That's where he finished off. But for now, we're looking at another story. So, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. And today we're looking at the story of Qarun. Korah is maybe how he's known, but Qarun, and he is specifically mentioned in Surah 28, where we saw the stories of Musa alayhi salam with the girls, the shepherdesses, and so. But here, in further up, from 76, we have his story again. We have this story of Qarun, but it comes previously or later in 29 and 40, where he is mentioned together with Pharaoh and Haman. Three names are mentioned consistently of the three baddies at the time of Musa alayhi salam and all the badness he does. But before those references come up later, 29 Ankabut and in 40 Surah Ghafir, it comes up here in Surah Al-Qasas. So Surah Al-Qasas does mean stories, and it's got the longest, if you want to make a parallel to Yusuf alayhi salam, is the one story with all of Yusuf alayhi salam's story in some sort of chronological order. Here too, I won't necessarily say if it's chronological, but Musa alayhi salam story surfaces here a lot, and in Surah Taha too. But the story of Qarun is here in Surah Qasas, and it's from 76, and I'll just read it into Inna Qaruna kana min qawmi Musa. He was from the qawm of Musa, and فَبَغَى alayhim, but he acted insolently towards them, the people of because because we gave him min al kunuzi ma'an, that we bestowed on him treasures. And then I'm not reading the next bit, miftah. It's about the miftah, who the keys of that place, ma inna miftahu, were a burden to carry. So a body of strong people had to carry it. And so behold, his people said to him, exult not, for Allah does not, what is it, inna Allah la yuhibbul farihin, Allah does not love those who are in exalt in riches, okay, because you think you're so good. So this is what people tell him, and this will come again about conversations, how people do try and correct you, people do try and tell you, and if you are in total arrogant mode and you're not in the mood to listen, you're not going to. That's why we say, we have this beautiful saying that a moment is a mirror to a moment. So if my friend, my spouse, somebody tells me something of my shortcoming, that wasn't right, do I have the ability to hear them? Do I have the ability to listen and acknowledge, yeah, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. That wasn't the right thing to do. So we need to trust and believe that our better halves, our spouses, or even our in-laws, they're all designed there by Allah's decree to help us be better for ourselves. Whatever hits us, whatever comes to us, instead of poo-pooing it and pushing and being blinded. So what does he say? He says, and he says, they keep saying, and they continue to say, but seek with the wealth which Allah has bestowed on you the home of the hereafter. Like, use your wealth, use your thing, min dunya, because but don't forget your portion in this world, but do good as Allah has been good to you, and seek not wala tabghi fasada fil ard, and don't create fasad in the earth. And for Allah, again, first it was inna Allah la yuhibbul farihin, those who are too happy in their wealth and riches. And then here it says inna Allah la yuhibbul mufsidin, the one who do fasad. Allah does not love those people. So these two ayahs in which they are reprimanding him for acting arrogant and so on. What does he say? He turns around and he says, he said, Qala innama utituhu ala ilmin indi. He said, this has been given to me because of the certain knowledge which I have. In other words, he's attributing to himself, because I am so well studied, I'm so well educated, I'm so well this, that's why I have this position on earth. Hello, Yusuf alayhi salam had the position, he got the top earth because he was a man of Allah. That's why he became the agriculture minister, or the treasurer, or whatever in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam at the court of the king. So he is now he is totally negating that it is by the mercy of Allah he has, and this goes back to the take-home lesson when we attribute, I got that job as that because I studied so hard for being an actuary. That's why I got this beautiful job where I got my job because of the studies I do. Surgeons, doctors, engineers, accountants, any of these professions where we think we've invested so much in using our brain power to get what we get and we pass it, we forget who gave me that brain power. So, and did he not know that Allah had destroyed before him whole generations which were superior to him in strength and greater in riches that they had collected? But the wicked are not called immediately to account. Wala yas'alu an zunubihim, for their sins they're not mujrimun, they're not immediately. So there's this whole concept in our faith also about imhal, about letting loose, let them indulge so much in their wrong that the news finally, when it hits them, it really brings them back to task. So that, anyways, and this is when we are blinded. We are blinded by what's there. Again, we need to see what it is to take home. So anyway, for me, the take home on the reflection of his keys today, especially in some certain countries when we're locking one door, two door, three door, the grill slam, the grill slam, they slam. So many. In fact, it was beautiful once because of all these locking doors. There was a friend who said that yes, somebody broke into their friend's house, their cousin's house, or whatever. But because they had to go through like Fort Knox, they really had trouble getting there. And so then we joke about that with all the keys that you had to lock, they are heavy. I mean, they're heavy in your bag, they're heavy wherever they are. So here they said the body of strong men had to hold on to, and it talks about keys. So why keys? Keys because presumably if you've got wealth, you want to keep it under lock and key. Anyway, so that's the background. Just I'm digressing just from my side. I'm not taking it from that it came in a tafsir that I'm sharing it with you. But those are the kind of take home of just see where we are, how we are. And so he went forth among his people in the glitter, fi zinatihi, with all his zenith, his glitter and glamour. He's sort of pumping glory. It's like a whole procession coming. Think of all the, those processions they have at all the royal weddings in England and so on. So anyway, and he said to those whose aim is the life of this dunya, and he says to them, allazina yuriduna, he says to those who want hayat dunya. What do they want? Ya layta. And they said, oh, ya layta lana misla ma utiya. Oh gosh, that we wish that, ya layta, that we had the likes of what Qarun has. So when you see this beautiful procession, the poor, whatever, princess and this and that, and the marriage and the pomp and the glory, and it's all beautiful, beautiful to the eye maybe, and then you suddenly want to say, I wish I had a wedding like that. No, that's just not becoming of a Muslim to be thinking these thoughts. And what is it? Qarunu innahu lazu hazin azim. He has really got a mighty good fortune. He's got so much, mashallah. No mashallah there too, so they just said that. But those who had been granted, qala lazina utul ilmu, and this phrase has come up before in Surah Baqarah with the one who was endowed with ilm, or no, it's come later also in Sulaiman alayhi salam's story with the jinn. So utul ilma, but even in Surah Baqarah with about Talut when he was made king, that he had jism and he had ilm. Anyway, so they said, alas for you. He said, wailakum the reward with Allah is best, but liman amana wa amila salihan. It's better for those who believe and do good deeds, but this shall not be attained. Wala yulaqaha, it will not be attained, not be received, but illa sabirun, those who are steadfast. You know, it's a staying power. So sabirun is also, it's not just patience, you know, in that. Sabirun has so much more, and we go into about having the staying power of being steadfast. And you know, today I am sort of envious because of that. Then I get envious because of that. And to resist all those envies, even if those envies be something that you strive to, you want to do because you want to go on Hajj, or you do, yes, but have the staying power that Allah will see fit when it's your time, that it will happen when your invite is there. Anyway, and then what happens? So these are up to 80 is that conversation. 81, what does Allah say? He said, we caused the earth to swallow him up and his house, and he had not the least party to help him against Allah to defend himself. So that was the end of him right there and then. So he's got this pomp and he's got his procession, maybe he's going into his palace that's just been made, and we caused the earth to swallow him up. That's the word that's used there. وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ, and not فَمَا كَانَ لَهُ, nothing was able to يَنْصُرُهُ, was able to help him, min dunillah, from Allah. And so that's what happened to him. He's pulled down, the earth swallows him. You know, sometimes even on roads you have these, what are they called? Not just potholes, but something like it caves in and it's all hollow underneath, and then they have to fix a road because it's just, I can't remember the word for it, but it's more than. So that made me think. He said, look, it's exactly like this. God forbid this happens outside the home, and you just get sucked in and the whole thing collapses. So whether, you know, and that's why when you look at landslides, when you see other calamities, just think of these things. And Allah in His beautiful mercy and in His beautiful Qur'an has given us some examples that we can take home messages with anything that goes on in our society around it. Gaza's a big thing, Rohingya, Uyghur, all these are troubled areas. But we have examples in the Qur'an to give us the solace that the oppressors will be taken down. The oppressors will be taken down. So his boastfulness, and he tyrannized them or tyrannized them. I'm not sure how you say that, and he gave. Don't be. So his immense wealth made him arrogant, and he flaunted his treasures with pride. And so his ingratitude is reflected, and then he says that seek what's good and help others, but don't be like corruptors. And so this was, so his claim for self-sufficiency, attributing it to his own abilities, and then all of this goes that wealth is a test. It's not an end in itself. It becomes a source of his downfall, and then the gratitude to Allah is essential. Pride in one's achievement and possessions leads to spiritual and worldly ruin, ultimately. Humility is what keeps us connected and grounded with Allah. And so balancing worldly and eternal goals, they advised him to focus between the world and the hereafter. We too. That's why we have our zakah in this month of Ramadan. So true success lies in achieving both without neglecting either. And to reject, so it mustn't be used to exploit others. And the whole wars that are happening, there was a beautiful article which said that follow the money trail, the pipelines, the gas lines, whether Afghanistan, Syria, anywhere, follow them, and then you will see where the oppression's happening. So his tyranny and his misuse of resources made him a corrupter of the land. And then the fleeting nature, his downfall demonstrate that it can be taken away instantly, like in the gardens of the people and other things. So success lies in Allah's mercy, and the take-home messages then are to acknowledge Allah as a source for your blessing, to stay humble, to focus on the hereafter, and to avoid corruption. So again, a timeless message from the story of Qarun, that the real treasure lies in humility, gratitude, righteousness, and hopefully that will get us to the akhirah, and that's our real treasure. So with that, I'll end off, and so Jazakallah for listening, and may it be beneficial to us. So with that, Subhana Rabbika Rabbil Izzati Amma Yasifun, wa Salamun al Mursaleen, walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.